Hey, everybody, and welcome to the weekly Holotapes podcast where we talk about Fallout, and Fallout. This is normally the part where I say we're not here to discuss rumors or about Fallout 4, but today, for all of you listeners, is a very special day. Very, very special indeed. Today we're going to be talking about nothing but Fallout 4. Yeah. So today, my guests are Monty from Fallout News.
What's up, everybody?
And then, well, I guess he's really the only guest because Jordan has been brought on as more help on the project, so she's no longer considered a guest.
My evil twin is also here.
Monty, shut up. Hi, Jordan.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. And then we also have our tech god, Lucas, who is always awesome.
Yo.
Who's going to be talking again today. I think he finally got a voice box transplant or something, because for a long time he just didn't want to say much. Now he's just, like, chatting on. Should have heard him before we came on, like, actually started. He just wouldn't shut up. Anyways, and I'm Jordan, your host. J-Dog. The J-Dog. So, hey, everybody. Remember to direct your questions to our Twitter, at Holotapes Weekly. Check out our SoundCloud, at Holotapes Weekly. Our YouTube, which probably will be up eventually. And I'll make sure that I put that in links somewhere when we get that up and running. Doing all the recording for video on that right now, actually. And I'm tired because I stayed up all night doing it. Not really, but I actually got a good night's sleep last night. So, hi, everybody. How's everybody doing?
Wonderful.
Okay.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear it. So, as I said, today's a very special day. Today is Fallout 4 Speculation Day. Because it's in celebration of our fourth Holotapes Weekly podcast.
A game that might never ever come out, but we'll keep talking about it.
It will come out. It's going to come out in next year. Mark my words.
No, I think it'll be announced next year. I think 2016.
I think it will definitely get announced sometime this year. Whether that's out at E3 or PAX East, I don't know, but it'll definitely get announced this year and probably released sometime next year.
No, I disagree.
You disagree?
I disagree. I think it's going to be announced early next year.
Dude,
January, February.
Wait, 2015 or 2016?
2015.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know, but like I'm saying January, February. You're talking PAX East, which is in
March? Where is there to announce it in January or February?
They won't. They'll just announce it on their Twitter.
Dude, no, they won't.
That would be insane.
That would be kind of crazy.
That is not what Bethesda does, though. I mean, I was thinking something about that last night on Twitter, but it's just like that's not what they do. Like, they're going to find a big platform to announce it on, and that's what they're going to do.
Anyways, we're going to get it next year. They'll probably actually release the game probably holidays next year.
Well, that's being optimistic, but
I don't think it's being optimistic. If they announce it at E3, it wouldn't be unbelievable for them to release it in 6 months.
It would be unprecedented because all the other games, Bethesda Game Studios, have had a year between announcement and release.
That's not true. Fallout 3 had an announcement and display 6 months before it was released.
Well, actually, it was announced in 2004 when they acquired the license, but
I mean, yeah, but then you could also try and claim that Fallout 4 was announced when they bought the license as well.
Yeah, but you could also claim Fallout 4 is New Vegas, so
no, you can't, because Fallout 4 is an outcast.
No, well, you could claim that they said they were going to make 3 Fallout games: Fallout 3, Fallout 4, and Fallout 5. So
but they didn't make New Vegas.
No, well, they licensed it.
But it's not the same as making it.
No, that was under their original agreement with Interplay before they just bought the whole Fallout license, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, and then there was also that huge legal dispute over the Fallout MMO, which I still hope never happens.
I really hope that never happens.
All right. Anyways, we've got 2 questions about Fallout 4 because our listeners are awesome and they only ask questions about the regular Fallouts, which makes it nice and easy for us to answer them. And we'll get right back to answering those next week on Holotapes Weekly number 5. But for today, we've got 2 questions from Jake DeFrank on the Twitters. Right? On the Twitters?
Yeah.
Anyways, really, really long question. So he says, okay, I have 2 things in mind. One is more of a discussion, and the second one is more of a question. So the first one, he just wants to know about factions in Fallout 4. Like, what do you want to see? How do you want them to interact? What new factions?
Well,
do you want to see more of the older factions? Personally, I'm done with NCR.
Yeah.
I don't want to see NCR in the next game. I appreciated not seeing them in Fallout 3, and I don't want to see them in Fallout 4.
Yeah, I hope that with Fallout 4 they just make a bunch of new factions. I mean, maybe the Brotherhood can have like a minor role, like in New Vegas, but I hope they just make new ones.
I wouldn't have a problem saying Brotherhood, but like NCR, unless it takes place on the
West Coast.
West Coast,
Which is
yeah.
unlikely.
Which is pretty unlikely since I just don't see that happening. I'm pretty convinced that it'll be in Boston. It doesn't really make sense for NCR to be out there for any reason.
Yo, but can we also talk about how great of a setting Boston will be?
Let's talk. Well, I mean,
eventually
talk about the fact that Boston may not even happen.
Well, it may not happen, but I really want it to happen.
Everybody's really hyped up on seeing Boston as a setting, and that's because we got a lot of info on the railroad and androids from Rivet City and all things like that. Even Dr. Lee said that she was moving she was going to another lab in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
We've also seen that Eric Todd Dellums has stated that Three Dog will be in the next game as well, and it wouldn't be that much of a stretch to see Three Dog move from DC to Boston.
Yeah.
But just because it said all that doesn't mean that we're going to get the next game taking place in Boston. It could be Fallout 5 takes place in Boston, and Fallout 4 we're going to see in Chicago, New York.
Detroit, please be Detroit. Please be Detroit.
Detroit would make a great.
Detroit's already real life Fallout, so.
Yeah, I got in an argument with someone on Reddit about Detroit, actually. In the Fallout universe, it would be probably likely that Detroit wouldn't go on to the downslope that it did. So, because of the way that the economic system of Fallout differs from the economic system of reality, in that, Detroit's problem was the white flight and the collapse of the audio industry, but when you don't export all of the jobs and manufacturing to like China or Mexico, what would happen at that point would completely alter the history of Detroit.
Yeah, that's actually really interesting.
So I would love to see how that affects what it becomes post-Great War.
That would be very interesting.
I also think a more tropical setting would be really cool too, like Hawaii or something. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yo, but let me just explain why I think Boston would be a great setting. I mean, because they've already set up all the stuff. Like, we already know about the Institute and how they have all this advanced technology and stuff, and how they have android slaves. I mean, that just sounds so cool. I mean, Fallout 4 could be like this more futuristic Fallout with all these advanced weapons and stuff, and like a battle between like these android slaves and their like oppressive scientist masters. I mean, I just think it'd be really cool. And also, Boston's it's a pretty unique city. It has like next to Washington and New York, it's probably the the most unique city in America. So I mean, for that reason alone, I think it's a great setting.
Seattle.
Seattle's been done to death already in other games. I mean, Jesus Christ.
What other games has Seattle been done in?
Infinite Second Son?
All right, one. You've named one game. Congratulations.
No, it's other games too. I just can't think of them.
Yeah, there's a game on Xbox Live Arcade. It's like a zombie 2D platformer. It's set in Seattle in like the 80s. Not Dying Light. It's got a similar name, something Light.
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank with that, but...
All right, well, anyways, I was literally just arguing about Boston is not the most unique or interesting city in the U.S.
Well, I think it'd be a good setting, though. I mean, it wouldn't be like the most craziest...
And I will admit that they do have a lot already set up for them.
It's the most established.
All right, so basically, we do assume that it's going to take place in Boston. So here's the thing. If Three Dog's going to be there, if Dr. Lee's going to be there, I can almost guarantee you the Brotherhood of Steel is going to be there. Lion's Brotherhood of Steel.
Yeah, but they probably wouldn't be the main faction because like they're not not established.
Yeah. Not by far. But if you have Three Dog in a game, you're probably going to get Brotherhood in a game. And the reason is because Three Dog has basically become a propaganda machine for the Brotherhood.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that because the Brotherhood does do a lot of good work for Elder Lions.
I just want to say I would love to see Three Dog back. Like that would just be awesome.
Well, Eric Todd Dellums already said that Three Dog is possibly coming back.
Yeah, well, it's not a sure thing. I mean, they could have like severed ties with him after he said that stuff on Twitter. You don't know, but
Yeah, but I don't really see that happening. I can't.
because because
I can't.
when he tweeted that, that was like what, like 2 years ago now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they weren't. I doubt they were already recording like dialogue and stuff 2 years ago. I mean, maybe they're doing that now, but I doubt it was 2 years ago.
Oh,
So,
I don't know. I would think that they would be.
I would as well. I would
that
have.
occurs during the latter stages of development, as far as I'm aware. So,
As far as I understand from game development, latter stages of development are normally dedicated to bug fixes, and you don't do a lot of the voice acting at the end. You do it.
Yeah, because
early
you have
on.
to look, even in game files, they have a lot of the voice already done for things
yeah,
that
I'm not saying like after it gets announced. I'm saying like maybe like 2 years or so before it gets released. I'd say that's kind of going on right now.
All right. Well, here's my thing though: is that if we do get Three Dog, we're gonna see the Brotherhood again, which
Yeah.
means that the Brotherhood has been in every single Fallout game to date. Which isn't necessarily a bad thing because the Brotherhood is really representative of what the
Yeah.
Fallout universe is.
Well, and Bethesda especially has made them into kind of the poster child for Fallout, so they kind of need them.
Yeah, and you know,
Even with the marketing and the game cover, like it's the most notable thing when you see like Fallout on the shelf.
But what I really don't want to see again is the Enclave. Like
Yeah.
Fallout 4 needs like new villains. They can't be the Enclave again.
And it
This
really
is true.
doesn't make sense to have the Enclave back as far as like the story goes.
and if we're keeping on the East Coast, the Enclave should really be destroyed at this point.
Well, even on the West Coast, they shouldn't.
Well, the only
shouldn't
place
be.
that the Enclave could exist as far as Fallout lore goes is Chicago. So unless we see one there, we probably won't see the Enclave.
No, that's not exactly true. They could still exist in another vault further south, in the Alabama, Georgia area.
Really? Where'd you
Um,
find that?
Well, Broken Banks is mentioned in Point Lookout DLC as being far, far south, and it's supposedly a bigger city.
Well, does it say the
because-
Enclave is specifically there? Or?
No, but there are vaults there, and
Oh.
it said that the Enclave had their own vaults just about everywhere, and we've seen them be pretty much destroyed all West Coast and most of the East Coast.
They're all hiding in Fort
Fort Meade,
Knox.
Fort Knox, that would work.
Yeah, they're hiding the gold.
Well, especially because even Eden mentions that he grew up in Kentucky, so I mean.
Yeah,
well, that's
but
kind of more because of Americana.
Yeah.
and Kentucky
It's not
is
really
very,
a specific
Kentucky
thing.
is very much Americana. We have had a lot of
That's true.
presidents from Kentucky.
Yeah, but I think the chances of seeing a Fallout game in like Mississippi or Alabama is pretty low.
Here's the thing, though, is it's going to be really interesting because what we're going to see is more of a Fallout 1 and 2 kind of progression, where in Fallout 2 you played as the Vault Dweller's grandchild, right? So what we're going to see probably in Fallout 4, if we do end up in Boston and there is Brotherhood of Steel, is we're probably going to see Sarah Lyons having taken over as Elder from Elder Lyons, and we're going to see an older version of her running the Brotherhood.
That's also something I kind of mentioned in a previous podcast. Like, there could also be a continuation of the Lone Wanderer story. You know, either through dialogue or playing as like a relative of him somehow.
I really hope not, but I can definitely see where that's coming from.
Yeah, because that's what they did with Fallout 1 and 2. The
Yeah.
chosen one was the Vault
The
Dweller's
great-grandchild
daughter
of
or
the Vault
whatever.
Dweller
Yeah, great-grandchild, yeah.
at Arroyo. But it would be very interesting to see, how this kind of thing is going to progress. And if we are going to see the Brotherhood again, it may not even be the Brotherhood that we know. They may have taken on a completely different name. They could have taken on a completely different structure.
Or it
Now
could be the Outcasts.
It's true.
The Outcasts aren't going to last. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Yeah, but what Bethesda could do is, since they received a lot of flack from the core Fallout fans that the Brotherhood wasn't, they were so much different and they messed them up, they could say that, Lions Brotherhood, they could say they stayed in Washington in the Capital Wasteland and they kicked the Outcasts out, and the Outcasts go up north to the Institute to try and find the Institute's technology that they heard about. That could be, a potential storyline right there.
It could. I think that even though they got a lot of flack for changing the Brotherhood, a lot of people liked
Yeah, well, the newer fans like
Elder
it.
Lions. Yeah. Here's the thing, though, and we've talked about this on a different podcast, is that Elder Lions really is the embodiment of the Wasteland. He literally, moved his entire group
He looks like the Wasteland.
the Lions Brotherhood from the West Coast to the East Coast. They've seen the entire Wasteland, and at this point, who knows how their ideals could have changed over 3,000 miles. Yeah. That's why I think that in that part the lore works really well.
Yeah.
They don't do a very good job. I
played Fallout 1 and Fallout 3. I mean, I don't think it's that unreasonable as some people say, but I'm not from like the 70s either or 80s.
Yeah, but it's definitely we're hopefully going to see some progression of the Brotherhood, of the East Coast Brotherhood storyline, whether it be with the Outcasts or with Lions Brotherhood.
Yeah, because Fallout it's Bethesda's child now, so they're gonna want to grow the things they set up in Fallout 3. They're gonna want to grow the Brotherhood and maybe Three Dog and the other characters. So that's definitely reasonable. Starting over in a completely different setting again, like they randomly took it to like Detroit or Chicago. Then they couldn't really do that. So it'd be starting over the series again, pretty much. So.
But at the same time, I really wouldn't like to see Fallout 3 Part 2.
Yeah, I agree.
So.
They gotta do something different, but growing off of Fallout 3, if that makes sense.
I agree. Another thing is that we don't want too much of Fallout 3. We don't want this Part 2, but on the exact opposite end, we don't want to have nothing said about it.
Yeah. Well, also with all the time they're taking to release this, if it doesn't release until I'm saying 2016 or even later somehow, then you're kind of introducing a whole new generation again to Fallout. So they got that to think about.
I've got a view on this, is that didn't Skyrim take 6 years?
No,
it took 5 years.
But wait, you're talking about between Skyrim and Oblivion?
Yeah.
There's no way.
That was 5 years.
5 years.
Yeah.
Okay, because here's the thing. Let's say they started Fallout 3 when New Vegas was released, right?
Then it would be 2015 would be logical.
Yeah, okay. But even then, it came out, New Vegas, did it come out in November of 2010?
No,
So
it came out in August. Yeah,
No.
but I've done a lot of research into what you're getting at. And Bethesda Game Studios started work on, they started work on Skyrim right after Oblivion released in 2006. So that was a good 5 years. So, they probably did the same with Fallout 4. They probably started thinking about, where it's going to take place and stuff with Fallout 4 after Fallout 3 released. So, that's been a good 6 years already since Fallout 3 released. So, I don't know how much longer it's going to take.
Add an extra year for next-gen consoles,
Yeah, that's also different.
All right, here's the thing. Even if they're working from next-gen consoles, there are already huge amounts of shortcuts between, if you already have it completely programmed for PC, moving it over to the new-gen consoles is really not that hard.
Yeah.
What could be taking longer is if they're also adding it to last-gen consoles, if you're putting it on the Xbox 360.
I pray to God they're not.
I hope not, because that would take a lot more time.
And if that's released any later than 2015, that's not happening for sure.
Yeah, I don't really know how long it's going to take to completely phase out these older consoles.
But Bethesda doesn't really do cross-platform stuff, so especially 3 years after the new-gen consoles have been out, I can guarantee they won't do that, because that would cripple their game.
Mm. Well, what we do know is that Fallout is definitely PC-based. It always has been, and even Bethesda has kept it as such, and Bethesda is very, very good about leaving it open to the modding community specifically for that reason. And it has been exactly 6 years since Fallout 3 was released. Not exactly. It was released October 28th, 2008.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So I guess we'll see. Something that I do want to ask is, are you guys expecting a new engine?
Am I expecting one? No.
No.
Nah.
So you guys think they're going to be using the same engine that they used for Skyrim, which is the...
Yeah, because the creation. No, creation. Gamebryo was Fallout New Vegas.
Oh, excuse me. Yes, you're right.
Yeah, so I don't see why they would create a new engine for Skyrim and then just create another new one for Fallout 4 when they can just, modify the creation engine and just make it, look better, like modders do already.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: Bethesda knew that a new generation of consoles was coming out by the time Skyrim came out, right?
Yeah, I actually read that Bethesda was thinking about not releasing Skyrim until next gen. Like, if they thought that these consoles were holding back their game at all, that they were going to push it off, but they thought they could get the most out of it with the last consoles.
Well, they did. They did a very good job of that.
Yeah,
so here's another question. So we know they use the creation engine for the actual graphics. Do you think that they're also going to keep the same physics system, which right now they're using Havoc? Havoc was the same exact people that worked on Skyrim and New Vegas, if I remember correctly.
If they're lazy, they'll probably keep the same one, but it needs a change.
You actually think that the physics engine needs a change?
Yeah, because I don't want to be climbing up mountains by jumping in Fallout 4 or whatever. Like I want when you kill someone, like when you shoot them with a rocket launcher, I want it to be more realistic, like how they ragdoll and such. And I don't think Fallout 3 New Vegas really did a good job of that.
I quite like the creation engine. I think that there's still a lot of untapped potential in that, and I think I think a new Fallout game built on that could actually be amazing, minus maybe a couple of physics and whatnot.
I'm saying keep the creation engine, just update it, and then get a new physics engine.
Here's the thing, though, is that the Havoc engine, while yes, there are some bugs like climbing up mountains, it also is extremely realistic. I mean, you can do a lot of really, really awesome things with the creation engine within like Fallout New Vegas, where you could actually play pool using guns. If you had all
I've done that actually.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And it's that realistic, so I'm not sure how.
You can also shoot a tumbleweed like 8,000 feet in the air too. So.
Well, that's because tumbleweeds are calculated with minimal weight, so that way they roll around. Much more
pretty funny though.
It is, but I mean, would you want to get rid of that realistic feel? Because most other of these engines. That being said, I guess I could see them using an updated Havoc engine, because I think that Havoc just released a new engine last year, 2 years ago.
Yeah, like I want it to be like super realistic. Like I want Fallout 4 to be super realistic. Like when you get shot in the head, I want that to like pretty much kill someone. Like unless you're like the courier or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So Havoc does have an updated physics engine. It's the same engine that Destiny runs on right now.
Yeah, so use that.
Other than some clipping issues, I enjoyed the physics in Destiny. A lot of them worked quite well, other than Destiny being a pretty shitty game overall.
Yeah, I didn't really check out Destiny. I thought it was shitty. Because they kind of did some false advertising with that, so...
let me tell you that I've played through about as much as possible, and it had no content just whatsoever.
Yeah, like originally with Destiny, they said that it was going to be this huge open thing, like you can go to different planets and such, kind of like No Man's Sky, but it just turned out to be just pretty much Halo-like.
It was very, very Halo-like. Even a lot of their enemies seem to be based on a lot of those Halo enemies. But if they used an updated physics engine from Havoc, I could definitely see it again. But the creation engine. Personally, I'd like to see them, if they're going to use the creation engine, I want it to be very, very updated.
Yeah, I agree.
But I don't know how modified they're going to go with it. And
they don't have to do a whole lot. I mean, you can just see what modders have done with Skyrim and some of the amazing graphical mods that they have made. And that just shows what Fallout 4 could look like on this updated engine.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's definitely enough power within the new consoles to do so.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you look at the visual gap with Oblivion and Skyrim, like if you look at Oblivion and Skyrim side by side, like that's a huge difference.
It is day and night. It is absolutely.
That could be the same thing with Fallout 3 to Fallout 4. Like I can't even picture what Fallout 4 might look like in my head right now. Like, because it'll look so much different, so much better than Fallout 3, most likely.
Well, having played on the Xbox One since day one, I've played quite a few games on it, and Assassin's Creed, Black Flag, and Assassin's Creed Unity, both on the Xbox One, looked fantastic. And those games are known for their graphical detail and
yeah, well, the worlds look great. The facials aren't that great, but that's another. I wasn't really impressed with Black Flag's facials, but
Assassin's Creed Unity definitely upgraded that. They definitely
I didn't play Unity because it's Bug City, so
it is Bug City. I will absolutely admit that. Yeah. I played through it before they.
I mean, some of the characters have no faces at all, so
this is true. This is true, but those are just really good examples of how the graphics specifically work very well within those kinds of things. Mm-hmm. I think that they might tone them down just a little bit from what they could possibly be, just because there's probably going to be lag with how many objects are actually moving around in Fallout at all points, and things like that. Anyways, I want to move on to Jake DeFrank's next question, and his next question will be, we're not even going to answer that question because we already answered it. He asks, do we think that we're going to see the Enclave in Fallout 4?
No.
And the answer is
hopefully not. God, please no.
Everybody wants to know. Everybody thinks that lore-wise it should be no.
That would be the absolute most laziest thing Bethesda could do, in my opinion.
I don't think it's the laziest thing they can do. I think that the laziest thing Bethesda could do would be to update the graphics on Fallout 3.
No, I'm saying as far as plot-wise. Yeah, I'm saying plot-wise, that would be the laziest thing they could do.
Probably. Something that I really hope that Bethesda keeps on doing, that Obsidian did very well, was creating this very black and white, or not the very black and white system that Fallout 3 had. I definitely enjoyed New Vegas's more morally gray sort of choice making versus Fallout 3's black and white, where you were just evil or good, and there wasn't really an in between.
I'd like to see a combination of the both. I thought that the karma system worked really well in 3, and that the reputation system worked very well in New Vegas, and that together they would be amazing. And it would give less of a black and white to the karma and more variance in how you play.
Yeah, mm-hmm. I also think if you're gonna have a lot of just black and white, at least make it so like in New Vegas you can join like the evil factions. Like if it's in Boston and it's people trying to free slaves and oppressive masters, like at least like you join the oppressive masters if you want. And also, can I bring up something about the karma system?
Of course.
Yeah. So on like the first or second podcast, I talked about how I think the karma system's like broken, and I was playing.
We talked about the witness system and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I was playing New Vegas last night, and I remembered why I said that. It's because I went outside of Good Springs and I killed these 2 powder gangers at the powder ganger camp west or whatever, and then I went into their little trailer thing, and they had a bunch of goods in there in boxes and such, and I took their stuff, and I lost karma for stealing from the powder gangers. Like, how do you lose karma from stealing from an evil person? You gain karma for killing them, but you lose karma if you steal their stuff. That makes no sense to me whatsoever.
Here's the thing, is that if they do keep with the karma system, it's going to become less that. Like, stealing probably won't... stealing from a specific faction probably won't decrease your reputation as long as no one sees you, obviously. Because I hope that they add in a witness system.
Yeah, I mean, if you're stealing from good people, that's one thing.
No. It shouldn't be if you're stealing from good people or bad people. It should be, are you stealing from a faction or are you stealing from someone who has no stake? If you have someone who, for example, you have a wasteland trader who's just wandering around, like we had the caravans in New Vegas. If you were to steal from them, you should definitely get negative karma.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
If I go and kill 10 Legion scouts or whatever, I shouldn't get negative karma or positive karma. I should get positive or negative reputation.
Yeah. I mean, you definitely shouldn't get negative karma for stealing from them. I mean,
yeah,
that just makes no sense. Like, you got to be consistent. If you're getting positive karma for killing them, you should get at least like nothing for stealing from them, since they're evil and they probably stole it in the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do agree with that. That used to annoy me a bit. Anytime it would happen, that used to like really get on my nerves.
Yeah, I was just like, what the fuck?
That is a very good point. But something that here's the thing is that even with the Legion and the NCR, we saw that there was still sort of this good and bad sort of thing. And I still do want to keep kind of the karma system for if I kill some innocent person in the wasteland, I want somebody to overhear me talking about it, and then shopkeepers like charge me more because I'm a fucking evil bastard, things like that. But
it should be more overt.
Yeah, but as for the factions specifically, I don't want to see a faction that's specifically evil. If they have if they have the Institute, it should definitely be like the Institute believes that these is saying that the slaves are needed. These android slaves are needed to collect food and medicine, and it makes this that way it's much easier for them to live, and everybody gets along better, and more people get saved.
Yeah.
On the other side, I want that the railroad to be kind of on morally gray ground too. I want there to be people in the railroad that say yes, these slaves should be freed, but on the other hand, I want some of them to be saying along the lines of
androids are people too.
Androids are people too, but also androids should belong to us. Everyone should be able to have an android, not just the Institute, or all androids should be killed because they're wrong, they're not human.
Yeah,
something along those lines.
You literally took the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah,
I agree 100%.
But
because Bethesda can do so much. Like that's why I'm saying Bossing's such a good setting. They can do so much with it instead of just making it black and white. Slaves are bad. People freeing them are good. They can do so much more with that. So I really hope they do and take a lot of time to develop this very gray, nothing's really the right choice type of plot instead of just black and white. That would be very disappointing.
Yeah, and what we're actually going to do is we're going to take a quick break right now, and then we'll be back in just a moment. So enjoy these imaginary commercials. All right, and welcome back. We're back from our break. And before we go any further with our conversation on Fallout 4, from our special Holotapes Weekly number 4 podcast, I want to talk about our awesome segment that we started last week that we're going to continue for forever and ever, called Your Weekly Dollar. And this is, again, if you haven't heard, it's when we recommend a charitable cause every week that you can either give $1 to or keep in mind, talk about it with your friends, bring it up in class, do whatever, and just try and get some donations out there and some awareness out there. And last week, we had a lot of success with people donating for HIV and AIDS causes. That was awesome. We love everybody who donated or even kept it in your thoughts and talk about it and whatever. And this week, we're going to talk about some clean water. Clean water is our cause of the week. Everybody needs clean water.
Purity.
Project Purity, exactly. A lot of people in the West, in the Western world, I hate that term, but in Europe and in America, we have pretty easy access to a lot of very clean water. But there's still a lot of people out there that we do take it for granted, very, very much so. And there's still a lot of people out there that don't have that kind of access, and we want to make sure that everyone does, because being able to take a nice drink of water at the end of the day after a hard day's work is probably one of the best feelings in the world. We want to make sure everybody can do that without fear of getting sick. So donate to it, find a good cause, and then let us know your name, how much you donated, and what organization you donated to at Holotapes Weekly on Twitter. Let us know. You'll get a shout-out. Top 3 donators will get a shout-out, as always. So,
wait, what's the charity called?
Any charity. It's just water. Find it. You find your own organization.
Sounds good.
So find an organization that gives to is good for water, even if it's just research into clean water. We can talk about LifeStraw. That was a pretty good research project that came up with a device that literally just cleans water in the palm of your hand. It's pretty amazing. So, just keep that in mind. Think about it. The organization that you like, that you think is doing good work, donate. Let us know at Holotapes Weekly on Twitter. And now, continuing with our Fallout 4 talks, we're going to talk about what we want in Fallout 4. Jordan, what is one thing that you would love to see in Fallout 4?
All right, so I would love to see a usable crafting system. Probably closer to the one in Skyrim than in New Vegas, but definitely as far away as possible from the one in 3.
I can definitely agree to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like in Skyrim and New Vegas, you could actually make things, but in 3, it just was unrealistic. It was such a hassle to find like the 4 recipes to make things.
Yeah.
That's the New Vegas was definitely an upgrade. I don't see a Skyrim-like crafting system where you're crafting things from the base ingredients other than food. I think that a lot of it will have to be scavenging. I don't think that we're going to see mining for iron or anything like that, or creating brand new weapons or anything like that. But I definitely would love to see maybe being able to create sort of like the railway rifle and things like that, but more open.
Yeah, definitely.
More robust.
Yeah, that's definitely a big one. But I definitely agree. I love the idea. I think that a lot of other people are in agreement with you that the Skyrim/New Vegas crafting system was about 100 million times better.
Yeah, I mean, just a 3's crafting system, it was a good idea. In practice, it wasn't as great.
Well, I mean, the rocket launcher was pretty fun, to be fair.
Well, yeah, I mean, it came up with some really great ideas, but it's just a hassle.
Yeah, it wasn't carried out that well, was it?
No, it definitely wasn't.
It wasn't fleshed out.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving on, Lucas, what would be something that you would love to see in Fallout 4?
Well, for me, it's nothing new. It's no new features. It's just something that they have in all Fallout games. But for me, the thing I'm most looking forward to are the settlements in Fallout 4. Because I loved some of the settlements in 3, such as like, you know, helping the kids out in Big Town, when you can actually exchange items and give them more powerful armor, give them more powerful weapons. Then you teach them how to shoot, and then the big threat comes along, and you have to help them fight against the super mutants. I loved all of that. You know, whether it's like helping out the cannibals in Meresti Station, not the cannibals, the vampires, the family in Fallout 3. You know, just all these different settlements that have their way of like bringing their situation to life in Fallout games. I'm kind of interested to see like the different settlements that would be in 4, the different people that will be there, who you can help, you know, who you can manipulate if that's your thing.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, and I think that everybody's really looking forward to all that kind of story work that goes into all these little details that Fallout has always been known for. And I think it's really just going to be amazing to see as we keep on moving forward and the technology opens up more and more how far out that's going to go. So I definitely can see where you're coming from with that. So moving on, Monty, what is the number one thing you want to see in Fallout 4?
Yeah, well, I actually have a few things, but my main thing is going off what Jordan said. I want to see more unique side quests, like, because Fallout 3 only had, I think, about 30 side quests. I want to see like 100 side quests like Skyrim had that have nothing to do with the main story. I also want to, like, maybe the guilds from Skyrim. Like, I want like more factions that you can join in Fallout 4, like that. But some other things that don't relate to what he said, I'd also like to see more tighter gunplay, like a better first-person shooter experience. And I'd also like to see a more robust hardcore mode.
That the hardcore mode I can definitely see. A lot of people enjoyed the hardcore mode in Fallout New Vegas, and I can definitely see them doing a continuation of that with hunger and thirst and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, just make it more than like a little ticker on your Pip-Boy. Make it more in depth. Make it more like a survival sim. Maybe with like some, you can contract like diseases if you get poisoned or get infected, you know?
That's interesting.
So I think there's definitely a lot more they can do with that.
I mean, they've already got the system in place for that. Skyrim already has that system set up, so I don't imagine it will be too far.
I'm not saying like getting vampirism or lycanthropy, but
no,
maybe,
but they also have like a rock bone or rock joint and other diseases like that within Skyrim that you could get from wild animals.
Yeah, so I'm sure there'll be something like that.
So they definitely already have a system in place for that, and I think that would be a very, very interesting continuation.
And another thing they could do with the hardcore mode, on New Vegas on my PC, I have a mod that gives you more perks and such. And one of the new perks is that you can take all the empty bottles, empty Sunset Source bottles, and empty water bottles lying around, and you can go to a toilet and you can fill them up at the toilet, and it gives you, water. So if you're doing a hardcore run, you can just gather up all the bottles you see, go to find a toilet, and fill them up, which is, kind of realistic.
Yeah, and we already kind of see that kind of thing in Old World Blues with these.
Yeah, they have that.
Oh yeah, with the sink. Yeah. In the main game, though, it's not there.
Yeah, absolutely. I can see where you're coming from with that. But yeah, that'd be very interesting to see, and I think that hardcore mode is something that's definitely going to stay around.
Yeah, because it just appeals to a lot of people. I mean, Fallout might not have originally been intended to be like a survival simulator, but it's definitely something it could be among other things at the same time.
I think that the universe lends itself very well to being a survival game.
Yeah, because.
Well, I mean, how could it not?
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Like, if you look at the other, like, post-apocalyptic things you see today, like, like The Walking Dead and all these other zombie shows, I mean, it's about survival. So I think for Fallout 4 to really appeal to a lot of people, it has to be, like, it has to be more survival-oriented. And they can, go off what Obsidian did with the hardcore mode already.
Yeah. Well, the number one thing that I would love to see in Fallout 4 is I just want to see more of the writing. Just like Lucas said, I love seeing these settlements and things like that. But even beyond that, I want to see. I just want to see a really, really decent storyline. In Fallout 3, we were kind of missing that a very, very strong storyline. Fallout New Vegas did a little bit of a better job with making me want to root for one person or another and getting me more involved with these characters. But I really want to see a continuation of the growth of that within the main game. I want to have a storyline that really impacts the wasteland. I mean, in Broken Steel from Fallout 3, we sort of got to see the effects of Aqua Pura or Aqua Cura from the Project Purity in the wasteland, but I want to see something even on a larger scale.
Yeah, and going off the first thing you said, that was a lot of people's main gripe about Fallout 3 was that the main plot was kind of lazily done and subpar, and it had a lot of plot holes in it. So I think that should be Bethesda's main focus.
I'm sorry, Jordan. What did you say?
I think that definitely the writing of 3 was kind of subpar. Like, it just wasn't well done.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could definitely agree with that.
They kind of tried to take the story of Fallout 1 and morph it into something else, and it didn't work out that great.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, they had some convincing characters with Dad being played by Liam Neeson and an incredible performance by Eric Todd Dellums as a 3-Dog, but apart from that, it was pretty forgettable. Oh, and the part where you go into the what's that simulation called? Help me out here.
Tranquility Lane.
Yeah, Tranquility Lane. That was very memorable. But besides that, the main quest was pretty forgettable.
Mm-hmm. I really don't care about professional voice actors. I think that it was nice to see Liam Neeson in 3. It was nice to see Felicia Day and a couple of other people within New Vegas. But even if they got completely unknowns and they cut back on their budget for voice acting, I wouldn't mind.
Yeah, well, the name isn't the important thing. It's like how convincing or how well it was done. Like Eric Todd Dellums before Fallout 3 was a no name. And he made a huge name for himself by doing 3-Dog, which is one of the best performances by anyone in any video game.
Yeah, and on the other hand, we do see that sometimes these voice actors don't really do that well with their characters. Liam Neeson as James, honestly, I wasn't feeling it. I didn't think that was the best voice acting in the world.
It was just kind of entertaining to hear him in the game.
Yeah.
It wasn't that he put on a tremendous performance or anything.
But again, on the other side, we have... what were you going to say, Jordan?
I didn't feel that it was necessary to have such a big name for James, since he's an important part of the story, but you don't really see him as much as you would hope with such a big name.
Yes, I agree. But on the other hand, I mean, we do get big names. Like, we did have Felicia Day, who voiced Veronica from Fallout New Vegas, and she did a fantastic job, and very definitely brought the character to life. And that's something that I really want more. I just want to be able to feel their characters through their voice.
Yeah, and also Mr. New Vegas was voiced by the actual Mr. Las Vegas, Wayne Newton. Yeah, so.
Yeah, but I feel like that's more appropriate than Liam Neeson. Because Mr. New Vegas is kind of like he's the embodiment of New Vegas.
Yeah.
Yes, of Vegas itself.
Yeah.
What I don't want to see is like there was rumors of the main character having a voice, but just getting like Troy Baker to do that. I mean, it doesn't do it.
Troy Baker is definitely overused within video games. He's a great voice actor, but honestly, you hear him in every single game.
And, I hate to hear him in the new Fallout. I get sick of hearing him, to be honest. Sorry, but
yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he does do a good job of masking his voice. Because I played multiple games with him in it, and I forget if that's actually him. So gotta give some credit to him.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but I think that is going to wrap up our special Fallout 4 edition of the Holotapes Weekly podcast, which this is number 004. Make sure you watch all the other ones. If you don't, I'm going to hunt you down, as always. I will hunt you down if you do anything wrong, because I am
J-Dog.
Actually, I'm actually a part of the regulators, little known fact. Yeah, so you'll actually find me in DC hunting down bad guys. So, yeah, if you want any more information, make sure you check us out on Twitter at Holotapes Weekly. We'll have a link to Monty's wonderful, wonderful YouTube channel. We will probably have a link to our YouTube channel, which may or may not have videos up by the time that this goes up. Hopefully it will. We're working very, very hard on that. And make sure that you come back. We're going to have number 5 next week, always released on Tuesdays, as always. I'm your host, Jordan. We have been joined by Jordan, Lucas, and Monty, and we love you all.
Peace.
I don't want to set the world on fire. I just want to start